Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Romelo Licame, and I will be discussing about the external and internal recruitment methods under the topic of Chapter 5, which is expanding the pool, recruitment, and careers. After this topic, the learning outcomes would be describe the methods that the firms use to recruit externally and internally. When you graduate, what sources do you expect to use for a search for a job? Conversely, what is the best source or method a firm should use to find talented people like you to hire? In essence, these two questions are really different sides of the same coin. Employers are searching for the right employees and the right places to find them. Conversely, people searching for work are looking for the best companies that they can find and ways to connect with them. So, without further ado, let's differentiate between the external and internal recruitment process. So as you can see here, let's discuss first the external recruitment method. It is defined as an intensive process wherein companies have to post the job descriptions on different job boards, create and engage with talent pool, improve employer branding, and so on and so forth. So as you can see on the side, on the right side, there's a figure 5.2, which is the sources of external recruitment process. As you can see, there's an advertisement, employer referrals, search firms, job boards, employment agencies, unions, social networking, educational firms, job fairs, book-ins. We'll discuss them one by one, and then we'll give an example if you can. So let's proceed with the advertisement. The advertisement is defined as the practice and techniques employed to bring attention to a product or service. Another definition, sales assets, aims us to put a product or service in the spotlight in hopes of drawing attention from the applicant. Advertising job openings on websites, social media, and newspapers, and in trade journals is a common way to attract candidates. But help wanted signs, billboards, and even Craigslist are sometimes used. In countries in which literacy rates are low, radio and television ads can be more effective. With the advertisement, most of us are a fan of phone mobile phones, so most likely when you're scrolling, you get to see lots of ads there. So that's an example of the advertisements. For example, you're looking for something that you want to buy or looking for a job. So the mobile phone analytics knows what you're looking for, so they tend to share lots of information that you're looking for. Moving on with walk-ins and unsolicited applications and resumes. So it is defined as a walk-in job seekers looking for jobs that pay hourly wages are common in smaller organizations. So the employers also receive unsolicited applicants and resumes. Walk-in applicants and individuals who send unsolicited resumes to firms may or may not be good prospects for employment. However, they are a source that should not be ignored. In fact, it is often believed that individuals who contact employers on their own initiative will be better employees than those recruited through advertisements. On the next slide, we have the internet and the social media. Actually, I integrated these two because without the internet, you can't use the social media. So for the internet, most commonly used to search tactic-based job seekers and recruiters to connect with one another. And for the social media definition, to help establish their employer brands as well as recruit talent, firms are utilizing the social media websites where they can create companies' pages, post and advertise jobs, showcase a company's attractive feature. Meaning to say that when you are posting on social media, the potential applicants can then follow the companies then if they are interested to looking to work for them. So for the next slide, we have here the mobile recruiting. It is the process of recruiting the candidates via their mobile devices. As we all know, people around the world are glued to their mobile phones. As I mentioned earlier, if you're handling a mobile phone, so most likely you're doing your social media there, you're also connected to the internet, or you'll get to see lots of advertisements for as long as you're using them. There's this analytics, as I mentioned earlier, that for example, you're looking for a job, then there will be lots of companies that will show off. So you as a job seeker, all you need to do is just to submit an application there and perform an interview. So most likely the HRs are looking for a hot applicant wherein can start ASAP. So there's also a process wherein there's this 1-day processing that you get the job if you're really qualified for that post. For the next slide, we have here job fairs. It is commonly referred to as a job expo or career fair or career expo. It is an event in which employers, recruiters, and schools give information to potential employees. So you get to see lots of that. you'll get to see lots of that, especially if you're graduating. So yeah, those employers will be visiting to your campus so that they will teach you how to create a resume. They will also teach you how to answer to an interview. For the next slide, we have here employee referrals, a structured program that companies and organizations use to find talented people by asking their existing employees to recommend candidates from their existing networks. So these employee referrals, one good example is the business process outsourcer and the BPO. So once you referred your friend and then they got accepted, so the one who referred, they will receive reward or money. For the next slide, we have a re-recruiting, the process of keeping track of and maintaining relationships with former employees to see if they would be willing to return to the firm. So meaning to say that once you left the job, they're open to accept you once again. So majority of the employees, they don't control what's going on with their lives or their current circumstances. For example, they need to or they have to undergo to a surgery or something relevant to your health. So you just need to take a break, get treated, and then once you're back, then most likely you'll get hired. Just make sure that you don't burn bridges with the company. So the next step will be executive search firms, also known as a headhunter, a company that specializes in placing highly qualified candidates in executive level positions across the public, private, and non-private sectors. Next slide, we have educational institutions. It is a place where people of different ages gain an education, including colleges and universities. They provide a large variety of learning environments and learning spaces. So for this example, I'll give you an example as I work as an education consultant here in Expert. So we're selling universities in different countries such as Canada, UK, and Australia. So once you study there in Australia or in different country, after study you'll get a post-study working visa wherein you can practice what you studied for, and then eventually, if you get qualified for the permanent residency, then you'll get that visa. So it's a pathway to migration. For the next slide, we have the professional associations and labor unions. Professional associations are non-profit organizations comprised of individuals who have similar occupations or alliances. Labor unions are organized groups of workers that allow them to use their collective bargaining power to promote workplace standards in the interest of equity and fairness. So there is also a difference between the two on the bottom of this slide. We also have the public employment agencies. It's a government entity usually responsible for assisting citizens for a job search, vocational guidance, and distribution of unemployment benefits. So one example here is the PESO. PESO stands for the Public Employment Service Office, or PESO. This is under the Department of Labor and Employment. So if you need a job, you can visit the PESO. So PESO office is also located in the municipality city halls. So if we do have a public, we also have a private employment agencies. So these refer to the companies that for a free match people with the full-time jobs. We also have here staffing agencies. These refer to the firms that hire and place workers in temporary positions. We also have, we call this independent contractors. This is defined as the co-workers who are self-employed and do project work on a contract basis for organizations. Often these workers are referred to as freelancers because they are free to work on multiple organizations on multiple projects at the same time. So as we all know, since we are booming on a VA, so we can say that these people are freelancers because they don't have an employer. Another external is we have employee leasing. This is the process of dismissing the employees who are then hired by a leasing company, which handles all HR-related activities, and contracting with the company to lease back the employees. Now let's move forward to the internal recruitment methods. It is defined as any method to identify and attracting job candidates from within the organization. That's why it's called internal. So let's give you an example about the internal recruitment methods. The first one we have is internal job posting. It is an internal job opening made available to existing employees within the company. As opposed to a public posting, it can be a powerful tool for employee retention, as data shows that internal mobility leads to longer employee tenure and better employee engagement and productivity. With the internal process of hiring, it'll be a lot easier because they don't need to train them about what's the work around within the organization. Perhaps you can give them a training wherein if you're really new to the industry, then most likely you need to do a training. But for some cases, since you work under the same organization, so what you need to do is only a development. That's it. Next slide, we have identifying talent through performance appraisals. So it helps to detect new talent People often show their potential to field. The performance appraisal helps see attitudes and skills often hidden inside an introspective personality or with fewer communication skills. It allows the success measurement of the company's selection process. That's just also tells us that if you're really performing well at the job, then most likely, you can be, you can amp it up, and then you might be able to cope up with the stress that a higher manager does all the time. So there's a way to determine about the score of let's say employees. So we have a 9-box grade, so a comparative diagram that includes appraisal and assessment data to allow managers to easily see an employee's actual and potential performance. So with this, they might be able to see lots of skills that they can apply on the job that you guys are filling in. And for the last part of the presentation, we have the skills and inventories and replacement shots. So skills and inventories are a compilation of the skills, education, and experiences of current employees. The organization uses inventories to assess whether current staff can meet company goals, understanding the company pool of current skills and talents, and future skill requirements aids in strategic planning efforts. So meaning to say, so these HRs are looking for a 201 file, if you're aware of 201 files. So you get to see lots of credentials there. Should you qualify for that, they need to reassess that one. And I think that concludes our presentation for today's video. Thank you.